Where do I even start with the Steelers draft? Because it was so brilliantly executed, and I know there's the controversy around Shador Sanders. I'm not even going to mention him in this video because if you can't be happy getting Will Howard in the 6th round, that is a you problem. That is great value for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And some people are trying to say, next Big Ben. I'm not putting that expectation on him, but he's a quarterback that can be a very good game manager and can win you a championship just like how he won a championship with the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm not expecting that his rookie year to come in and start, but I think he can develop into something really nice. And again, not one of those guys that's going to make everybody look like a superstar, but one of the guys that can be a quarterback on a championship team. But let's talk about the D linemen, Derek Harmon and Yaya Black in the 5th round. Way to double dip in that position, because when it comes to D line, we know it's the most important position along with offensive line. And while you still have a mentor like Cam Hayward to teach these young guys, you got to get as much young talent as possible. And Harmon is an A+ talent. That guy is explosive, can be a great run stuffer, but can also get to the quarterback. He's an overall just great athlete. You watch him play. I don't know his exact numbers, but that guy is going to be an absolute problem. And you add that with Keanu Benton, who's also a great athlete, right? You know about the wrestling background. Those guys, they are going to be a great tandem for the future. And you still got Cam Hayward, because anybody at this point who says Cam Hayward is washed, a lot of people made that mistake last year after he was coming off some injuries and not his best year. And then we all know what he did. So I'm really happy about that. And Yaya Black, I think he can be very good depth as a nose tackle. So really a lot to be happy about that selection as well. And then 3rd round, you got Caleb Johnson. Again, my second best running back in this draft is because he's a big running back, right? But the way he runs is just so effortless. It's so efficient. No wasted movements. He's just gliding almost. And I know that his 40 time was 4.57, 4.58, whatever it was. And people say that, he doesn't have the breakaway speed, but you watch the film and he does have the breakaway speed. He can make those big 60-yard to the house type plays. And then you got another guy in Jalen Warren who can do the exact same thing. We know that pitch toss, he took 70 yards or 75 yards, pretty sure, against the Cleveland Browns. So that tandem is another really great duo. I cannot wait to see this running game next year, and hopefully it doesn't break down through the year, right? Hopefully they can just stay consistent with it, and you got young talent on the offensive line. You put that together and you're a serious offense now. And Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't signed yet, but if you have all the pieces and components that you need to be a great football team, so that when you're picking quarterback next year, or when Will Howard steps in, if they have the faith and confidence and he develops the way he needs to be developed, you're going to be a real Super Bowl contender in the future. So I'm not putting these real serious expectations on the Steelers this year, but I'm saying I really like where this team is going. And I wasn't thinking that way a couple months ago when the Steelers lost that Ravens game. It was looking pretty dark, but things are turning in the right direction now. So A+ pick in Caleb Johnson. Really great pick, and I'm surprised that guys like RJ Harvey went in front of him. Again, I love the Ohio State running backs Travion Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins, but I would have Caleb Johnson in front of them every day, all day. Now, moving on to the 4th round pick, Jack Sawyer, a guy who I just see a very high production rate when he's going into his 3rd year in the NFL, maybe even 2nd. We'll see what happens with TJ Watt, but I was very high on Nick Herbig in the 4th round. In fact, if you were watching my videos at the time, 3 a.m. the night before they actually picked Nick Herbig, I was talking about, well, the Steelers are probably going to select this kid tomorrow, and watching the film, like, he's going to be a really good player. People were saying he's going to be a middle linebacker because he doesn't have the size on the outside, and I just said, listen, that is absolutely ridiculous, because if you watch the film, the technique is what matters. The way he uses his hands technically, that's what matters. And he had such good film. And I see similar things with Jack Sawyer. Now, obviously different players, because Jack Sawyer is a bigger guy, but he's not as fast as Herbig, and he doesn't really have the bend that Herbig has, but the technique is good, the production will be good, and he can rush with power. He has finesse moves, and on top of that, he can defend the run. He can set the edge. So that is a huge plus. And again, talking about mentors with Cam Hayward and Derek Harmon, Yaya Black, you got Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt to teach a guy like Jack Sawyer. That is almost unfair. That is the best development that you can have, having those guys teach you day in and day out. So the resources are definitely there for Jack Sawyer to become successful. It was the best place he could have possibly landed. I know some people were confused with the pick, but for the future of that edge room, in 2-3 years, trust me, people are going to be understanding why they made the selection, because Jack Sawyer being 62 on, I think, ESPN's big board, falling to 123, he's going to be a steal. Again, just trust me, 3 years and people will fully understand the selection, and he'll be a 10-sack guy. So couldn't be happier with that. Now they selected the linebacker out of Washington, another guy who can come in, be competition for camp, but that linebacker room, it's got his guys really excited for Peyton Wilson year 2. And on top of that, you got Cole Holcomb returning. Now I'm not expecting him to be the exact same after a knee injury like that, but I do expect him to be a very good piece to that linebacker rotation. Now that he's fully healthy, he had that year off, and people forget how good a guy like Cole Holcomb is. So missing him was definitely massive. And yeah, seeing that knee injury versus, I think it was the Titans, that was brutal, but he's had more than enough time to recover now. So that's going to be, again, just massive for that linebacker room. But I'm really happy with what the Steelers are right now in terms of everything. Obviously, you got the quarterback question and some questions on the offensive line, but other than that, the team is pretty solid. And I would be damned to not mention the coaching questions. That's massive. But in terms of talent, like the wide receiving room, you completely rebuilt that. Roman Wilson will know the playbook this year, and you got him and Calvin Austin in the slot, two guys that are really talented. I think Roman Wilson is going to be a stud and have a lot of production in the slot. And obviously getting DK Metcalf and pairing him with George Pickens on the outside, you got two number ones now. So that's brilliant. And with the offensive line questions, you got Broderick Jones at left tackle. Yeah, he was raw coming out of Georgia. There's technical things that he needs to work on, especially in pass pro. But now that he's at his natural position, which he didn't play for the first 2 years of his NFL career, which is ridiculous, I think he'll be much, much better now. I think he'll be fine. He's super young, and he has the physical talent. You get that guy running in space. No man that big and strong should be able to move that well. So I think he'll have a bright future at left tackle. I think people are too fair weather when it comes to, oh, he sucks right now as a right tackle and he's so young, and right tackle is not his natural position. He'll be fine, and I have faith in him. Maybe he isn't an all-star this year or anything like that, but the future is bright for him, is what I'm trying to say. And then obviously Mason McCormick as a right guard showed massive potential his rookie year. I think he'll continue to progress. And then you got Zach Frazier. Oh my goodness, do not get me talking about how much I love Zach Frazier. That guy is going to be an all-pro for a very, very long time. The toughness that he shows, the technique, another guy with a wrestling background, and it shows because the way he understands leverage, it's fun to watch. Really, it's very fun to watch on film. So I cannot wait to see his year 2. There's lots of exciting year 2s for the Steelers, and then another one of them, should I say, Troy Fautanu, who didn't really get year 1 besides 24 reps versus the Broncos. He is going to be a very good player. Mark my words. I'm going out on a limb here saying that he can be another one of those Penei Sewells. Like, the injury sucked and people were like, oh, they should have picked Brian Thomas or whatever. No. Fautanu was the right pick, and his athleticism obviously needed to get a little stronger, but he's had a year now to be in that weight room and just continue to build strength. But technique-wise, and his footwork is great. He's a great athlete. So yeah, I'm super excited to watch him year 2, and him being the right tackle now. The offensive line is going to be a lot better, and people might have forgot, but they're going to get reminded of why the Steelers picked him in the very first round. So yeah, there's a lot to be excited about with this team, and I think if they add that franchise guy in the very first round next year, or if Will Howard becomes that guy, watch out, because this team is actually dangerous. The only thing that can hold this team back is the coaching, which of course is not just a small statement. That's huge. The coaching needs to be good because, quite frankly, no offense to Mike Tomlin, he gets outcoached tactically by any like above average head coach in the playoffs. It's a fact. You can prove it. I mean, even versus teams that they should have blown out, they had to rely on Chris Boswell. I think 6 field goals in the playoffs when they were facing Kansas City with Alex Smith. So, yeah, there you go. And they had weapons at that point in time. So I'm a bit concerned about that. But the Steelers should be a problem going forward if they can just get that guy, or Will Howard again turns into that guy. But it's looking much better than what it was a couple months ago. Free agency. There's questions about the D line. What are they doing? They let Larry Ogunjobi go. Okay, fine. But who are you replacing him with? Well, you got answers now. You got answers now. And the fear of taking Jackson Dart round one, so glad they didn't do that. And they got Derek Harmon, because what a player he's going to be. Yeah, things are looking a lot better being a Steelers fan as of right now, and moving forward for the near future. But let me know what you guys think about the Steelers and their current state. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Would appreciate it if you would subscribe, like the video. That is it for me on this one. Peace.